Welcome back as we demonstrate the procedure for replacing GLAND packing on a typical installation. The procedure for replacing a typical GLAND packing is completed in 4 stages, namely preparation of equipment, preparation of packing rings, fitting of rings, and running in and adjusting. Beginning with equipment preparation, first ensure that the equipment is totally isolated and that pressure is relieved. Next, remove the GLAND follower nuts and pull the GLAND back along the shaft. Using a pair of packing extractors, remove all the existing packing rings. Next, ensure that the stuffing box is completely free of all the old packing ring debris and wiped clean. Check that the shaft is concentric to the stuffing box bore. Further, ensure that shaft width or runout does not exceed 0,025 mm and that the shaft surface is free of scores, pitting, grooves or ridges. Where applicable, fit a new sleeve. Ensure that the GLAND follower fits freely into the stuffing box and over the shaft. Refer to the workbook for tolerance factors. Check the neck bush to shaft clearance, which should not exceed 0,25 mm. If necessary, fit a spacer washer with close shaft clearance to prevent the risk of packing extrusion. Now, with the aid of a gauge rod or flexible tape, measure the stuffing box depth in order to ascertain how many rings will be required. Allow approximately 1 ring width lead-in for the GLAND follower. Let's turn our attention now to preparing the packing rings. Select the appropriate packing material of the correct cross-sectional size to fit between the shaft and stuffing box bore. Next, wrap the packing around a mandrel matching the shaft diameter until you have the desired number of rings. Draw or scribe a line parallel to the shaft axis. Then scribe a second line at a distance equal to the packing width. Cut diagonally through each segment to create a 45-degree slice. We are now ready to fit the rings. Rings should be fitted one at a time. Fully insert the ring, ensuring that it is bottomed using a split sleeve or a tamping stick. The joints of packing rings must be staggered at 120 degrees. This applies to both valves and pumps. After fitting each ring, turn the shaft to ensure that the packing is not binding. Remember to replace the lantern ring where applicable. The lantern must align to the inlet connection. Bring the GLAND follower up squarely against the last packing ring and finger tighten the nuts. Once again, check that the shaft is able to turn freely and is not binding or rubbing in the bore of the GLAND. The final step is to make the necessary adjustments. Adjustment for valves is simply to tighten the GLAND nuts equally until a slight spindle turning resistance can be felt. Pumps require more detail, and as previously stated, a certain amount of leakage is generally to be seen visually. Where an external GLAND coolant supply is provided, this should be opened and fluid pressure allowed to build up and leakage be observed. Pumps with a bypass feed should be started up and run to see that liquid leakage occurs soon after the pump pressure has built up. If the GLAND overheats, stop the pump and allow it to cool. Run a pump for 10 minutes, ensuring ample visible leakage. Then, at 10-minute intervals, tighten each GLAND nut by 1/6 of a turn until leakage is reduced to a slow drip. Frequent checks should be made thereafter to ensure leakage is maintained and that overheating does not occur. It must be noted that drip rates will naturally vary depending upon application and pump type. Always consult your plant supervisor and manufacturer's recommendations for the specific leak rates on your equipment. Complete the exercises in your workbook and practice in your own workplace the procedures for gland packing replacement. This concludes program number 3 of this series. Join us again in other Tech AV technical training sessions.